All right. Good morning, everyone. Matt Braden here from the GPAR team. Thanks for joining us on this Friday morning. It really feels like fall, which arrived just a few days ago, and I don't like it. I'm kicking and screaming. I love summertime. But anyway, the calendar has other ideas for us. And the calendar says today we have Jack Barry here to do a great presentation for us. Just a little bit of background. Jack is a key contributor here to us at GPAR. He serves as our NAR director. So up at the national level, he represents GPAR as one of our directors, and he's done that for, I guess, the last 5 years now. And he's a real ace there. He really has come to understand how all that works, and he represents all of us on the highest level of the realtor family, if you will. And then also too on the state level, Jack is also a director for us at the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors, an active participant on several different committees, amplifying the voice of our folks here. And he takes both of those director jobs very seriously and to heart. And we're very fortunate to have that kind of representation there. And then here locally, he obviously from these different workshops that he does for us, but then he has served on our board of directors. He works for a diversity committee. Jack is a key contributor, and we're very fortunate and grateful to have him with us and working with us, and also to challenging us. He challenges GPAR to be better, and we're very fortunate for that. And I say that from my heart and from a great deal of sincerity. Jack is a stud for us to have for this association. So with that, I'm just going to hand it over to Jack. He's going to share some of his tips and tricks to have you run a better business, to be a better realtor, and to have sustainability in this crazy, crazy marketplace. And the thing is this, take a couple of nuggets. He's going to throw a lot of stuff your way. You just get a couple of little things and put them into play and then go forward from there. Because sometimes I think Jack can hit you with an avalanche of stuff. Just try to get a couple of things. You don't have to get all of it. And furthermore, Jack will make himself available to you with a cup of coffee. So not to give anything more away, Jack, the floor is yours. Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Matt. Hi, folks. Jack Barry, again, all that stuff that Matt said. I just do one little commercial, which is for the GPAR, the Association, Greater Philadelphia Association of Realtors, the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors National. You're all a member of all those things due to your membership at GPAR. And something that I think a lot of people don't know is the work that we do in the legislature at the local, national, and state levels. People, because it costs a lot of money to belong to GPAR, $500 and something per member. And people say, what do I get for that? Well, aside from things like this and meeting me and having coffee with me and all that's really great. But when the pandemic hit last year, the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors Political Action Committee, the lobby, if you will, we were the first group in the room telling the legislature that the independent contractors, which all of us are, needed to be included in this money, in this pandemic response money. And that was nowhere near on the table. So we need to remember that all this work that we do that seems like, oh my God, it's no big deal. This is the kind of stuff that it had. A lot of us we were able to sustain our lives for a couple of months, maybe with no income at all for the 10 weeks that we were out of business in Pennsylvania. And that is because the National Association of Realtors were the first people through that door. So please remember that. And if you want to get involved, I tell people, I get a lot of business from my involvement with GPAR, PAR, NAR. I get a lot of referral business because I meet all these people and all these things that I do. So not only is it the right thing to do, like the way that I look at it, I owe Greater Philadelphia Association of Realtors my career. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if it wasn't for all the work that they've done for decades before I got here. So I'm just paying this back. I'm paying it forward, if you will. And so I urge people to get involved, especially in the legislative side. If you want to get involved, call me, we'll have coffee, email me wherever you see me. Jack Barry, KW is my email. And we'll put that up later. And we'll have coffee. We'll have 15-minute coffee somewhere in Center City or down in wherever. And we'll talk about that. This is my friend Alex. He's actually an agent, but he's going to be playing a first-time buyer today. And today we're going to show you how we interview buyers, or even in this case, it's going to be a buyer, but it's essentially the same conversation for anybody that's the first time that I meet them. And I have a couple of other businesses, and this is called the expectations conversation. We are finding out what they want, but more so, we're telling them how we work. And this is a culmination of the last, say, I've been a licensed realtor for 14 years and was in real estate for about 5 years before that. So it's almost 20 years of all the failures. This little presentation will be 20 years of the failures, so that hopefully if you take anything out of this, you will not fail at some of the things that we did. Some of the mistakes that we made with people through the years, now we don't do it anymore. And we can't do it anymore because my default is to work with people who aren't qualified, and the people that are qualified are going, and I'm not helping them. So I have to come from it from a service standpoint, and I have to help the people who are the most eligible. That's just how it works. And it works in all the businesses and all my nonprofit work that I do. That's how it works. I have to work with the willing. Very important. So this is Alex, and we're going to start. This is going to be about 20 minutes. It usually is a 45-minute presentation in real life. We're going to cut it down to 20 minutes. So in case we have questions at the end. So we're just going to go right at it, and hold your questions for the end, please. Thanks. Okay, Alex, thanks for meeting us here. My name is Jack. I am the principal of the Jack Barry Group. Alex, my assistant, told me you're already pre-qualified. You have a pre-qualification from the mortgage?
I do.
And what are you qualified for?
400,000.
Right. And this is your first home buy?
Correct.
Excellent. We do great. We represent 50% buyers, 50% sellers in our business. We try to keep it there on purpose. Sometimes, if the market changes, we'll be able to shift and go to more sellers because that's just how the market works. But for the most part, we like to stay with buyers and sellers, so we know both. Me being a listing agent helps me with buyers. Me being a buyer agent helps me with sellers. I can tell the sellers what are the buyers looking for. So it makes me for a well-rounded, makes us for a well-rounded team. One of three things are going to happen today. You're going to love us and you're going to sign up with us and ask us to be your realtor. Number one. Number two, you're going to decide you don't want to work with us. You want to work with somebody else. And number three, we're going to decide not to work with you. We're going to decide that we can't help you, that we won't be able to meet you.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the third one.
Yeah, the third one, yeah.
That means that if we feel that we can't meet your expectations, we don't want to waste your time.
Okay.
So and this is, again, through all the years of experience that we've had with working with buyers, you might want to see 100,000, you might want to see 100 homes before you make a decision. You might want to make $100,000 offers on $500,000 houses because, you saw Tony Robbins' class or something like that, which is what I did. But so you might not be a good communicator, or money might be more important than time to you. And that's a really big stickler with us. Our time is more important than our money. And that's for anyone. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. And so we will never waste your time. And one of our biggest value adds is that we will save you a lot of time in this process. In a buyer transaction, there are about 120 to 130 little tiny mini transactions that have to happen after we get under contract. You're only involved in 3 of them, one of which is the inspection process, then the appraisal process, and that's merely just because it's on the mortgage side of you. And then actually the closing, which is getting the money.
Yeah.
We take care of that 100 and say 110 of them. We do all that behind the scenes. And that's where our value comes, because you don't have to be involved in any of them. Some people ask to be involved, they ask to be updated for it. It's very, very rare, because you'll be getting 1, 2, 3 emails a day in some cases. Oh, the tax files in. You don't care about it. You don't need to care about that, because you'll have a really good agent behind you. Do you have any idea how real estate works?
No.
Okay, so in Pennsylvania, state of Pennsylvania, we have the commission structure is set that the seller pays his agent, the listing agent, whatever the commission is, say it's 6%. The listing agent has an agreement with the seller to make 6%. That listing agent pays me, my broker,
Right.
whatever he's decided. It's either half of it or maybe a little less than half. And that is not part of the contract. That's done between the realtors.
Okay.
So you don't technically pay for our representation. The seller's paying my broker, who in turn pays me. So you get our services without any charge to you, except for we do charge a $400 conveyancing fee, because we hire an outside company to do a lot of the work.
Gotcha.
That keeps us out in the field with you, taking phone calls, maybe going to, looking at showings, going back to the property. We need to be able to stay in front. So sometimes we do outsource that, and that's $400. But otherwise, you don't pay us for our services at all, which is a great thing. In the very rare circumstance that it's a for sale by owner, which I've only done one in 14 years this way, where the seller has decided they don't want to pay any commission at all. And in which case you have to pay either 2.5% or 3% commission. But again, that's happened one time. Those deals generally don't work well for someone who has representation. The seller, for whatever reason, doesn't like realtors usually, and he doesn't want to get involved at all. So that's very rare. And in this market that we're in right now, you need a realtor. Most for sale, there's not a lot of for sale by owners in the markets that we work in Center City, Philadelphia. So you don't have to worry about paying us. That's good.
Yeah.
The pre-approval tells us how much house you can buy, right? Now, usually if you talk to Rob Plotnick, our mortgage guy, his first question is, what do you want to spend a month? As opposed to how much are you, what your credit allows you. Because, if I make, $100,000 a year, I should be able to buy about a $300,000 or $400,000 house. But do I want to have that much monthly number?
Right.
Do I want to do that? We don't want people to be house poor. Right. I don't want you to have to eat SpaghettiOs forever, unless you like SpaghettiOs, but I don't want you to have to do that. Every time you put the key in the door, we want you to go, oh my God, this is a great house. Not, oh, my mortgage is $1,800. That's not a good feeling. You're not going to want to be there a lot. We want you to love it. So he's already talked to you about that. He told you the number you're going to be at. So we know how much. What about neighborhood? You have any idea where you're going to live?
I was thinking Fishtown area.
Why do you like that?
I like the community and the accessibility to like the bars and
Nightlife,
yeah.
Restaurants, dining.
Yeah.
So where do you live now?
I live in
Say somewhere else.
Northeast
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Northeast Philadelphia.
And do you rent?
I do currently.
And when is your lease up?
Come January of 2022.
So we have 4 months, October, November, December. Let's end of January, 4 months.
Yeah.
That gives us plenty of time, which is good. Now, what would happen if, since you're ready, willing, and able, right? You're pre-qualified, you're ready to buy. Do you have anything else besides that lease that would stop you from buying a house, like a new job or a wedding?
No.
Nothing like that. No, you're not waiting for money from like maybe somebody to die. Sometimes we have that.
Yeah,
No. Okay. So are you on a month-to-month lease, or is it?
I am on a month.
On a month-to-month.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Because if we find a house today, we make an offer. If we went under contract today, it would be about 45 days by the time we closed.
45 days.
So now we're saying at the end of September would be the middle of November, right?
Right.
Middle, like November 15th. So some people like to have a couple of weeks after we close to stay in the apartment, clean up everything, get to move, so you're not like crazy the day of the closing. And on the month-to-month, you probably have 60-day notice to give them. And we work with our landlords. We've never had, knock wood, we have never had a client stuck in a lease. So if they found something before, sometimes we'll work with the landlord and we'll say, look, we'll find you the replacement. In this market right now, the landlord generally knows he can get more money with you gone on a new lease. So they're pretty happy as long as you don't destroy the place.
Right.
Yeah, but we work with them. We've done this a lot. So we don't want you to feel like, oh my God, I'm going to have a mortgage payment and a rent payment. We don't want that. That's a bad scenario.
Okay.
So we're gonna help you mitigate that. If we have to find a new tenant, we can do that. We know lots of people.
That sounds good.
So if we go out today and we start looking around, we find a house, we make an offer. We make the offer, maybe negotiate for a day, maybe 2 days in this market. It goes pretty quick. We get under agreement. The very first thing we do, you will officially apply for a mortgage, and then we get inspection scheduled. We get the inspection process because we hire an outside inspector, third party. He comes in and he goes through, depending on the inspector, sometimes it's about 25 pages. The average is about a 40-page report. Okay. And you're going to go with him or her, and they're going to go through the entire house, and they're going to, more than anything, they're going to show you how a house works. Here's the water heater. Here's the water shutoff. Here's the electric. Here's how you turn the heat on. Here's how to turn the heat off. Here's all the shutoffs for all the, in case there's a leak in the bathtub, you don't have to shut the whole house off. They explain all this stuff. The inspection, unless it's a brand new home, which is very rare in first-time buyer in Philadelphia, in our experience, it happens, but it's rare. Unless it's a brand new construction home, there's going to be things wrong with it. There's going to be dents and scratches in it, like a used car, right? You buy a used car, it's not going to be perfect. We're not looking for broken windows and doorknobs that don't work, or, you know, we're looking for water. Is there any water coming into the property? Is the roof good? We want to know the roof, how old the roof is, the hot water heater, the HVAC system. We want to make sure the electric's up to, is good electric. And maybe, is it good enough to do anything we want to do in the future? So maybe the house, if it's a row house in South Philly, maybe it doesn't have central air. And you want to put central air in right away. Is the electric going to handle that? Or are we going to have to upgrade that? Because that could be another $2,000. We want to know all this stuff up front. So it's not to go and nitpick about all the little, you know, we used to have people who, oh, the window's broken on the second floor rear bedroom. Like, that's not what the inspection's for.
Right.
We want the big things. We want to make sure. If it was a brand new house, they have to fix everything. It's just a punch list. We just take the inspection report, give it to them, say fix everything. But that's very rare. We go, well, let's pick out 2 or 3 big things that we want to make it safe for you to get in there. And then we're over that hump. Next thing is appraisal, which you're not a part of. They send the appraiser out. Then we get what's called a clear to close. The mortgage, you know, our mortgage person will tell you, all right, we close next Friday. This is exactly how much money you need to bring with you, certified check, after the deposits were made. And now he's going to go through, our mortgage guy's going to go through every single page that you're going to sign.
Okay.
He'll do it like this by Zoom, so that when we get to the closing table, you're not stuck reading 125 pages of, he has already gone through, he usually goes through that with you a couple days ahead of time. And at closing, sign all the documents, shake hands, keys, you're in, that's it. You own the house. I tell people the closing day is the most anticlimactic part of the home buying process. Because everything else is hurry up, get your documents in order, get your bank statements in order, and then all of a sudden the appraiser's like, 4 months ago, you had a $50 deposit. What is it? Oh, my grandmother sent me a check for my birthday. Okay. They look for the non-regular, non-reoccurring things. That's their job. That's what they get paid for. But a lot of hurry up. And then all of a sudden you're done and it's over. Then you buy a house. We stay in contact. We stay in good contact with it. You know, our goal throughout the entire process, my goal is to be your realtor for the rest of your life. We're only licensed in Pennsylvania. But we do about 20 transactions a year down at the Jersey Shore. We do about 25 in South Florida because we travel there a lot. We know the natural migration pattern of a lot of our clients is to leave Philadelphia, move to South Florida or the Jersey Shore. And what happens in Philadelphia, you know, you get to the mid-30s, mid-40s, they buy a shore house. And then 10 years after that, they sell the house in Philly. And I need to be involved in all those transactions. And what happens in what has been our experience is our clients become friends and our friends become clients. And our friends go, oh, you got to call Jack. He's got to be the guy. At about somewhere between 14 and 18 months after you buy your first house, we're going to start looking for your second house. Because you can make money buying and selling real estate, but you create wealth by keeping it. So 18 months later, depending on the mortgage guy, and like I said, we have a great relationship with our guy, and he's going to tell us when you're going to be eligible to buy your next house. And it's usually somewhere around, let's say 18 months. And then we start looking for the other house for you to buy. You rent this one and move to this one.
I like that.
And we do that every 18 months. So that by the time you're, how old are you?
30.
You're 30. If we did that, so imagine if we did that for 7 years. We got 7 properties in 10 years. By the time you're 40, now you're sitting on enough property to either go, okay, now we have to make a decision. Do I want to sell all 7 and buy a 20 or 30 unit building? Now we're scaling things, right? I have a client that calls me and says, Jack, it's time for another college fund. We're pregnant again. That's what he calls his investment properties, college funds. Because if I buy this and get a 15-year mortgage, by the time she's ready for college, sell it, the whole college is paid for. We're not talking about properties anymore with our clients. We're not talking about real estate. We're talking about freedom and how we're going to get there. We're talking about college funds and shore houses. And people saying, oh, we want to buy a Pocono house. I had a client the other day said, we want to buy a house in the Poconos with my brother and brother-in-law and father-in-law. It'll be 4 of us. And we're looking at like an $800,000 house and we're putting cash. We all have cash. And I don't know the rest of the parties. But my client told them that they have to use us. And I don't really know the Poconos. But I know the best realtor in the Poconos, and I'll get 25% referral then. And I love working referrals. And if you're new in real estate, working referrals is great because you don't have to do the whole entire transaction. Right. You don't have to get involved in the nitty-gritty of the transaction. And that's the same way with you. So do you have any questions right now about what we said? Because I tend to talk a lot like a fire hydrant.
I've heard people talk about PMI. Is that something that's
private mortgage insurance? If you put down less than 20% for residential, single family, or less than 25% for condo, I believe, you're going to get hit with PMI, which is a percentage. Usually, I think it's $90 per 100,000 right now, if I'm not mistaken. So on a $400,000 mortgage, it's $360 extra a month. Until you get to 20% equity. So that has to come down to what you're comfortable with. Do you want to put more cash out of your pocket now to put 20% down? Or are you okay? I'm a capital preservationist. I like to keep as much cash as I can under my control. I'll pay a little more monthly for that benefit, for the right of that benefit. Rob will send us your pre-qualification, but there's a phenomenal program right now for first-time home buyers in the state of Pennsylvania. So on a $400,000 house, you could buy a $400,000 house less than $3,000 cash out of pocket, but it is going to have that PMI on it. Now, the PMI in this market is probably only, say you put 5% down, the PMI doesn't go away until you get to 20%. So you have to get 20%, 15% more equity. That would take 3 or 4 years. And before FHA is the Federal Housing Authority, they would require the lender to tell you when you're at 20%, they don't have to require that anymore. That's not required. So you have to tell the bank, you have to ping the bank and go, yo, my 20% is, I'm there. Let's get an appraisal. They'll charge it for the appraisal to come out. Right. But they pay $350, $375 for the appraisal to come out and go, oh, this house is now worth X. PMI is gone. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So it's there. I don't like paying it, but I do. Because I'd rather have that cash in my pocket because you never know when the heater's going to go or it's not something. I'd rather have the cash in my control. Other people are like, no, I want the monthly payment to be as low as possible. Gotcha. But then you have to put more cash out of pocket to do it. Now, and then in some cases, the client, the buyer doesn't have the cash. That might be go to the parents, sometimes the employer, whoever, a friend, you can get a gift. For that amount of money. You can buy the PMI out at the table. Gotcha. You can say, all right, I'll give you $3,000, $4,000, whatever it is. The numbers are all the mortgage guy answers all those questions though. I tell people I'm not a mortgage guy, but I play one on TV. What else? So let's talk about what kind of house you want. I tell people there's a triangle. 3 things you must have. What are the 3 most important?
3 things. I would like a big kitchen, an updated kitchen, 3 bedrooms, and 1.5 bath would be ideal.
In a row house?
In a row home in Fishtown.
Can the half bath be downstairs in the basement?
It could be in the basement.
Okay, because sometimes people are, I don't want anyone go, sometimes the basement's not finished. Some people do not like that half bath on the first floor near the kitchen. Bathroom, kitchen. They're like, no. I don't want people sitting here having dinner. Yeah, some people they don't think about that till later. Right. So we put that out there just to, and we're not going to really know until we start looking at houses. And you go, oh, you know what? I don't want this. And the same way, like we talked about, we're not looking at 100 houses. We're gonna give you a questionnaire about 5 pages. You're gonna tell us all the things you absolutely do not want. Okay. That's like Tinder. No, no, no. Oh, maybe. Okay. In Philadelphia, especially in Center City, anyway, the spiral staircases were very big in the homes built over 100 years ago. They did them for space, but they're not very workable today. And if you have a pet or a child, these are going to be a nightmare. And if you like something called happy hour, because they're easy to get up, but they're really hard to get down. And a lot of sellers don't want to show those spiral staircase because they know they're an issue. So a lot of times you don't know until you get in the house, and they're like, "Oh, this is no way." We already know those houses. We're not. If you say no spiral, we're not taking any spiral because we already know what houses have with them.
Okay.
Because we know the inventory.
Right.
We go out and look at inventory. We look at, we try to get out. I try to get out twice a week to look at all the new homes on the market. That's how we save you time. So you go, I want to be in Fishtown. I want to be, south of York, north of that, right over. Oh, okay. So now we're like, and then we're going to send you. We're going to mark that off in the MLS, and we're going to send you those properties as soon as I get notified. You get notified at the same time. We're going to do the same email. Oh my God. 3,500 Memphis just came up. 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, basement's finished. We got to go see this right now.
Gotcha.
In this market, that's what we got to do. What is your availability like?
I'm available on the weekends.
Just the weekends to see? Okay. That might be an issue because, like I said, in this market, although this market right now in Philadelphia, the dirty word right now is price reductions. Personally, we haven't had a price reduction on a property in 14 months. But in August, we started having price reductions because the property's not moving as much. The market has pulled back a little bit. So that might not be as big of an issue. What's the best way to communicate with you?
Text message.
Text message, great. We tell people that no answer is no. So we say, hey, here's this property. Do you want to go see? Is there any way you're available today? If you don't respond within like 5 hours, that means no. We're going to go find. Yeah, we're going to move on. That's important. The communication part of this relationship has to be strong. We have to know. You have to not be afraid to say, no, Jack, this is not what I want, or this is not the house that I want. These aren't my houses. I didn't build them. I didn't paint them. You're not saying no to me. You're saying no to the house. Okay. 9 times out of 10. Also, if there's somewhere along the line, we have a lot of vendors, the mortgage guy, the title people, the inspectors, the termite people. Maybe we need even to have vendors after you buy the house. We have contractors and handymen and roofers, window people. At any point, somebody is not performing 100%, you need to call me.
Okay.
Because the reason that they're getting this business is because of the way that they work. And they have to work like we do. We work with a sense of urgency. Every single one of our clients has to feel like they're the only client. They're not. There's dozens of clients at any given time, but you have got to feel like we are paying attention to you. And that's what we will do. Okay. Like I said, we need to be, everything that we're doing is so that you are our client for life. What would be, how does somebody win with you?
Giving me good advice and giving me a different perspective on the situation and showing me the good and the bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's honesty, integrity, right?
Yeah.
Integrity is accuracy and consistency. We're good at that. We like, again, this is a time thing. We don't have time to not tell the truth. We just don't have time to tell the truth as a human being, let alone as a realtor. But I can't waste time not being honest. And if I'm not being honest, then I'm being dishonest. There's no, if you want somebody to be nice and tell you, oh, this is not going to work. Because we're going to say, you know what, this is a great house and it's a great block and I know it has parking, but that electric is going to cost you $4,000 and it doesn't have HVAC and the resale value of this property is not going to be good. And statistically, you're only going to live, if you bought a house today and you weren't going to buy investment property, you're only going to live in it definitely no more than 6 years. And almost everybody goes, oh no, I'm stacking. Like, no, it's just statistics. Most of real estate is statistics. And so we're going to show you this. You find the house, we'll go, this is what the house is worth. We're going to tell you, if I was going to buy this house, this is what I paid. And that's how people begin to trust us. and they know that we're going to tell them the right. Sometimes we have clients call and say, Jack, I need you to talk to my mother. Tell my mother why I'm not going here because I'm going to buy a house. Because they can't be honest with them. And that's okay. We'll be honest for you. We will be honest for you. Like I said, we need to make sure that we're going to be your realtor forever. And we're going to do the right thing every single step of the way because we want to win. My email tag says win-win or no deal. And we have to do that. We're not going to wring every last dollar out of somebody. That is not the way to do consistent business. It's just not. We want to do business. There's a lot of realtors in this city that I love doing business with because I know they're going to do the right thing. And and there's a lot of builders in the city that there's a builder currently that has a concierge for the buyers after the sale. Yeah, and he's done at the table. You don't have to do nothing. But he lets that guy hang around for 30 days in case something goes wrong on a new build. Oh, the dishwasher's a little crooked, washes drip, boom, they come and do it. That is going to make you go, I want to buy another house and I want to use those guys. I look what they did.
Right.
Or you're going to tell your friends, oh my God, these guys, they're the best. V2 is phenomenal. And we need people to talk about us like that. So based on all of this, how do you feel about working with us?
Everything sounds good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to work with us? Sign up with us?
I do.
Dude, excellent. Let's get started.
Let's go.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, folks. That was an abbreviated version. Like I said, it usually takes about 45 minutes to go through it, but we just did it quicker so we could have some time. So I'm just first going to say questions. I see somebody in chat. Clearly, this is the initial contact. Clearly, this isn't the initial contact. What happened with the initial contact? Okay. That's a great question because by the time they get here at this point, they've already had at least one, maybe two conversations with somebody on my team. Depending on how they found us, and a lot of our work is referral today. So that would have been like maybe a group text. Somebody went, hey, Jack, I want you to meet my friend Alex. He's looking to buy a house. Great. Hi, Alex. How you doing? We have a quick conversation. Are you pre-qualified for a mortgage? And when are you ready to buy? Based on that, that's how we know who they're going to talk to because it's not always going to be me. I'm usually more on the listing side. I talk to most of the listing clients. The seller side is going to be EJ or Josh or whoever it's going to be, whoever we figure out. Once that initial conversation happens, we're going to grade this prospective client. And we work on something called the DISC system, which is a behavioral assessment. And we're going to very quickly figure out who you're going to work best with on our team and who you're going to mesh with really quickly. Then they're going to tell you to call the mortgage guy and get pre-approved unless you're already pre-approved. And then once you send the pre-approval, the appointment is made. We don't meet with people who are not pre-approved at this stage. I did that a lot in the beginning of my career, and I ended up taking a lot of people. I was dating people who were just looking. Well, here's what happened. A woman in the beginning, client, I don't know how, I really don't remember. This is 14 years ago. We showed her 4 weekends worth of homes. So every Saturday we went out for about an hour and a half, 2 hours showing her homes. I think we showed 20 some homes to her. And then one day she just stopped responding to us and we just kind of thought she went away. I don't know. And one of the realtors happened to be at the property I was at and she went, Jack, is this your client? And she sent me the woman's name. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, oh, we just accepted an offer from her that she wrote with another agent. And I thought, I didn't ask her to sign the buyer representation form and I didn't have her pre-qualified. And so I called her and I said, yo, whatever her name was, Mary, what's going on? And she went, oh, we made an offer on that house on Dumont Street. And I'm like, well, what happened to me? And she said, oh, well, see, my sister is a realtor, but she has a full-time job. So she said that to find somebody else to take us around for the houses. And then when we found it, she would make the offer. Isn't that how it works? No. So I could sit here and tell you not to do this all I want, but until you get burned like that, like I say, all of my success is totally based on my failure. I had a mentor in my office. Now I have a coach, but I had a mentor then in the beginning. And he was like, you need to get them to sign that. And I said, I am not asking them to sign that. I am not asking them to get pre-qualified. It's too car salesman. I'm too pushy. Well, guess what? That was, you know, a $400,000 house that I lost $12,000 on because I refused to show her what my worth was. Until I know my value, I will keep giving people discounts. That's what it is. I need to know my value. And usually other people know my value. They're just trying to see if I know my value. And so we do this right up front. Sign the buyer rep, give me the pre-qualification, and then we have this meeting. And then we start going looking at properties. Next question says, how do you introduce the buyer contract? Oh, this would be the point right now when he shook my hand, he said, yeah, we're gonna buy. Boom, we give him the buyer contract. You could use the PAR firm. The PAR has a buyer representation contract. I always urge people to use the contracts that PAR provides. You could cross the line and be accused of practicing law without a license if you're making your own contracts and your own addendums. Got to be really careful about that. You have to ask your broker how to do that. There are a lot of teams that have their own, they call it a buyer loyalty agreement along those lines. And they all work, but you just be careful. Make sure you're staying within the boundaries of the law and that you're not practicing you don't want to get hit with the illegal practice of law because those lawyers will find you. What if someone does not want to get a pre-approval before seeing homes? Then we don't work with them. We never get to this point. We're like, when you get the pre-approval, call us. And I understand, look, you don't have to do anything that I say today, right? Like Matt said, you take what you need, leave the rest. But my failure has shown me that people who don't want to get pre-approved, there's a reason why they won't get pre-approved, and it's never good. Whatever that reason is, it's not good. You need to get pre-approved to sell homes. There's a lot of homes on the main line, you know, out in the higher price categories. Some of the agents require the pre-approval before you could even go make the appointment to go see it. So it's better to have that right up front. And especially in a market like today, oh my God, what, yeah, you might have to, I mean, I showed a house in July, we stood outside and made the offer on the sidewalk. Because I could do that on this tablet that I'm doing this presentation on. I can write my entire contract, all 7 documents on my tablet, and have my buyer sign them all right there. And we were pre-approved and we were ready to go. So yeah, the only people that I'm taking out are ready, willing, and able to buy a house today. And I explained that to the buyer that I need to go out with people that are ready, willing, and able today, because otherwise I'm doing a disservice to the people that are ready, willing, and able. If I'm taking somebody out who's not ready, willing, and able. Now, does that mean I'm not taking people out? No, it happens, right? Somebody brother calls all these people, they might want to buy a house. If I have time, I'll do it. I love looking at inventory, and I go out looking at inventory twice a week. I go preview homes twice a week because I need to know what's on the market. I need to know what not to show my clients or what the competition is for my listings that I have. So yeah, there's an exception to every rule, make no mistake about it. But if you have these values in the beginning, especially if you're new, you have these values in the beginning of your career, they are going to define you going long ways. My mentor was Mickey Pasquarello in the beginning, and he said, what you do in these first 6 months of your business is what you're going to do for the next, however long you have your license. He said, so make the hard choices now. They're not easy, but you know what? I have a very bad habit of going, I think what you think, and then I act without ever talking to you. And that's a bad neighborhood to be in my head, by myself. So I'm not afraid to go, hey, are you pre-qualified? Good, let's talk. I had a guy the other day, he's a friend of mine. He goes, Jack, I want to go look at this house. I said, why? He goes, because I might buy it. I said, are you pre-approved? He said, no. I said, you're not serious about buying a house. You know, we get paid for our money. We get paid for our time. That's how I make money, is being paid by my time. So you have to make stuff. It's a tough decision, and it sounds harsh. Your clients will definitely appreciate you for it, and they're going to send. And you know what happens? Most of the people that I have meet like this, they'll say something like, "Oh, whoever introduced us, oh, Jackie said, we're going to find a house." No nonsense. It's business here. It's time to go. And that's what we want, Most of our clients become friends, and most of our friends become clients. My accountant asks all the time, who are all those people? Why, how come you had a $600 check last night at dinner? I'm like, they were all clients. That's how it works. That's how I want it to work. Ready, willing, and able today. All right, next question. Anybody else? We got plenty of time here. We got 14 minutes.
Hey, Jack, just a little riff off of that too, right? When you go through that, it also makes that client or prospective client gets their attention, right? Because you see these folks, they're like, maybe, and it's like, oh, whoa, like this isn't just, hey, let's go look at houses this weekend, which, you know, particularly like for first-time home buyers, it's like, hey, we're going to go on a little expedition. There's no big deal. We have an open weekend, and it's like, well, no, there's more to this than just that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes that's a cue. And I'm reflecting back on my younger version of myself, you know, like not understanding, whoa, this is like a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And we tell people that this is serious business, right? It's some people, we had a client once who said, oh, we bought the house, and the husband and wife, they signed the contract. And 4 days later, she said, my mother's flying out from Ohio. She needs to see the house. I'm like, is she giving you money for it? She went, no. I said, no, you have to be an adult. I said, we only have, in those days, you only had 2 visits to the property, you know, for an inspection or something else. I'm like, we just can't pop in there. Contractually, we'd have to get their permission to do this. And for what? What happens if your mother doesn't like it? Are you not going to buy the house? Oh, well, no, I'm like, no, it doesn't work. We have to be an adult here. This is adult time. This is, you know, you have to put your big girl pants on, and this is part of that process. Look, everybody doesn't like this, right? Everybody doesn't mesh with us, right? Mesh on our team. We get that. We know there's going to be a percentage of people that are going to go, no way, I'll go across the street. That guy, my sister's not going to make me sign a buyer rep. Good, you know. Who, you know, your sister's working a full-time job doing something else and doing this on the side. What's Thanksgiving going to look like when that deal don't go through? Holy crap, you know, you're not coming to my house for Thanksgiving.
And also too, when Trent Pettis does his presentation, he talks about this same exact stuff. So this is like universal language, obviously, but it's something that it plays itself out in the agreement of sale workshop that he does, which, by the way, we're doing one of those next month. Keep an eye on your inbox for that. Shameless plug. But this is recurring theme that we're hearing from our veteran folks like this, and that is because they have fallen down, they've skinned their knees, and they've had, you know, this stuff pop up. So it's based upon that experience, and that's one of the things you constantly hear. You know, it's so funny when we'll see some of our members, they'll post on social media, I sold this house in how many days, how many minutes, seconds? And it's like, no, like what allowed for that to happen so quickly? Listen to all this front end stuff and that experience that clients benefit from, you guys benefit from. You know, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice by saying, oh, it went in, you know, 97 seconds. You know, there's years and years of stuff that went behind that. And that's where these workshops help out too. Right, you get to draw upon that past experience of these other mentors that share their experiences with you guys. And sometimes they're bad stories. You learn from these bad stories. These are opportunities for growth. You know, sometimes it's part of the process. Jack gets to air it out because it's a cathartic experience, if you will. But also too, he's based his business upon those bad fall downs. And that hurt enough. I'm not going to let that happen again.
Exactly. Yeah, and I had, when I first got my license, I was about it was less than a year licensed. We used to sit at cubicles then. This is 14 years ago. And my mentor sat next to me, which I hated, but I got a phone call one day, and it's my friend Eamon, and he goes, hey, Jack, how you doing? I'm like, good. He said, I bought a house at 7th and Spring Garden, and I'm having a housewarming party on Saturday. I want you to come. I went, oh. He went, oh my God, I forgot you're a realtor, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh man, I wish I would have remembered that. I would have used you. I went, oh. And he said, yeah. So can you come to my, you know, open house, my housewarming party on Saturday? And I was like, well, I don't know. I'll call you after the fire. You know, I'm going to burn your house down. I didn't say that out loud. And I hung the phone up. And Mickey was my mentor. He's sitting next to me. He went, that's your fault. He goes, you're really bad at telling people what you do. Really, really bad. He goes, you're going to have to change that if you want to keep business. He goes, look, you've been doing this for almost a year, and that guy didn't even know. He knew enough to call you to invite you, and he didn't know, and he forgot you were a realtor because I didn't tell him. It wasn't Eamon's fault, it was my fault. And that was the day that I sent my mass email out to everyone that I knew on my entire email list, telling them that I was a realtor. Because I didn't want to say that, because I didn't want to be pushy. Because I make no mistake about it, I test as an introvert. Very hard for people to believe. That's why I do these things like this, these seminars. And that's why I go to PAR and I stand up and I go to those meetings, because I need to practice being something that I'm not. Because otherwise, I'm not going to make any money. I just won't. And I'll say that it's real estate is horrible and it's all their fault. When the reality is, I didn't do. Look, we're not doing brain surgery here, right? There is a prescribed way to do this. And it works at a very high level. And then you can tweak it to make it fit your individual idiosyncrasies. But in the beginning, you know, I have an imaginary master's degree in everything. So I think that I know everything about everything. And that's a really big detriment to me. Because and especially in the beginning, I wasn't willing to listen to anyone. I wasn't willing to get a mentor or a coach. And I'm not paying them any money, blah, blah, blah. And then I got successful, and I'm not paying an assistant $51,000. Are you crazy? And I got an assistant because I got a coach who told me that if I hire an assistant, that assistant should provide 3 times their total compensation package the first year, by the end of the first year. So you should have $150,000 more in revenue by hiring $51,000 worth of assistant. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not good at math or meth, but that doesn't make sense to me. And guess what? Within 6 months, I made that money. And then within 2 years, that assistant had to hire his own assistant. And I showed him how to do it. Like, this is what you do. He's got to make his money. He's got to show his word. And holy camole. Again, until I knew my worth, my value, I kept giving people discounts. Usually myself. I kept going, no, I'm not going to spend that money, or I'm not getting coaching. I got a coach at 4. It took 4 years for me to get a coach. And it was $1,000 a month. And I didn't have $1,000. I had $800 in the bank. And he said, he called me, you know, we have a coaching system in my brokerage where they figure out who you are, and they do this disc thing and who's going to be a good fit for you as a coach. The guy called me, he said, Jack, this is Fritz, I'm your coach. I'm like, oh, hi, Fritz, how you doing? He goes, yeah, we're not talking about that. He goes, we got to make $12,000 real quick so you don't resent me and fire me. Give me some ideas on how you're going to make 12 grand real quick. I want to see how you work. I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. He was like right at it. He was my coach for like 4 months before I even knew that he didn't live in Philadelphia, that he lived in California. I didn't even know it. He wasn't about personal. He was about business. He's like, my job is to get you where you're supposed to be. He goes, you're selling real estate by accident. He goes, imagine if you had a focus and a plan. Wow. And that is, that's where we're at today. And now we just help other people do that, right? What's the next question? Can you share how to utilize an assistant successfully? I actually could not tell you that because I was so afraid to hire an assistant that I hired an assistant coach. And that cost $800 a month. To have the coach, she had built 3 real estate teams, huge, like really big, like $75 million, got them to $75 million each. She worked on the team. And then one day realized, wait, you know what? I can train other people to do this. So she just trains assistants, and she's fantastic. So if you email me, I will tell you who that is, because we're not really doing advertising here. But she's fantastic. She charges more than that today. But I have all the people that direct report to me, I pay for their coaching. That's how much I believe in that. And the people in my other businesses, I pay for their coaching because it's invaluable. Again, because we think we know everything. And I don't need to listen to anybody. When I go to the gym, I got to get a coach, right? Follow up 14, 18 months, discuss other property terms, conversation, ownership, wealth. Yes, yes. Oh, we also have a 33 touch program. We're at my brokerage. So if you become a client, or not even a client, but if you get in our database, you're going to hear from us 33 times a year. Maybe only 1 or 2 of them will be a phone call, but we're going to find out things about you. Social media, we know a lot. We're big with business intelligence. You're going to get, happy birthday to your dog, that kind of stuff. happy anniversary a year ago today, you bought your house. Most people don't even remember it. And they're like, oh my God. And what happens is they call their mother and go, guess what, Mom? Today is a year that I bought this house. My realtor just called me and told me that. Who's your realtor? Jack. This is what we hear mostly. So when we represent you as a buyer, you buy a property from us, we host your housewarming party. Okay, we provide all the food for your housewarming party. No liquids at all, just food. Whole Foods or the Bruno Brothers. We provide the food. Tell us when and how many, but you have to give us the invitation list. That my database, data bank, because it's bank, it's money. My database is my book of business. And what we hear at those parties, consistently, the one thing we hear more than anything, my realtor doesn't do anything like this. Winning, we are winning, winning. Other ways of following up. Yeah, we do that. Birthday cards. Look, these conversations, I take people to lunch. I try to take 2 or 3 people to lunch a week. And I check in everywhere I go. So I'm like, oh, I'm at the Pyramid Club. And then I get engagements. I don't care about likes. Likes mean nothing to me. I want engagement. So somebody will go, Alex will write, when are you taking me to the Pyramid Club? You never took me to the Pyramid Club. I'm like, oh, we're going alphabetically, Zeke. Or something like that. That kind of engagement, people are like, it's attraction rather than promotion. They want to come. They want to be part of it. Successful people want to work with successful people. Always. They always do. And when they see crowds of people being successful, like, hey, when are you going to do that to me? When are you taking me to the club? When are you taking me to Butcher and Singer? We do a 15-minute coffee 3 times, 3 15-minute coffees a day. Now we're down to 4 days a week. I have coffee with 3 people, 15 minutes. Almost everyone says yes because it's so like what can happen in 15 minutes in a coffee shop, right? I'm not trying to sell them a timeshare or a cemetery plot or, I kid people a lot today. I'll call people and be like, I may have even done it to Matt. We were up somewhere and I'm like, hey, I have a question. Has anyone talked to you about renewing your auto warranty yet? And they're like, what? I'm like, I got your attention. Okay, good. Let's have coffee next week. They remember this. I need people to stop scrolling. They're scrolling on their phone all day. They need to stop. That's what my job is, to make them stop and do something, whatever that is. We were in Harrisburg this week. I ran across to this little island, city island. It's back and forth. I don't know. It's 2 miles maybe or something. I'm old. I run very slow. I stop on the bridge. The river's going by. It's a fast river. I said, hey, folks, Jack Barry coming to you live from Harrisburg. And I'm standing here on this bridge. And this is the Nile River. Yeah, the Nile River. And I'll talk to you later. Boom. I had people, that's not the Nile River, you idiot. I'm like, I just won. Because you know why? Facebook goes engagement. They don't know what people said. They don't care what they said. They just said, this guy made a post and 18 people wrote something on it. And other people are, oh, you don't know Jack. He does it all the time. This is called lead generation. That's what he's doing. But I get like 8 or 10 or 20 responses to every post. Holy moly. Facebook loves this. And when somebody goes moving to Philadelphia, who comes up but Jack? You can't beat that. You must. And one of our biggest taglines is, do you know Jack about real estate? And for the expired people, we say, you don't know Jack about real estate. But I mean, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. The theory is I'm not afraid to be shunned, right? I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of family. I have a lot of business. I'm okay. I know my value. And I'm going to be honest. I'm definitely going to be honest. So I'll leave you with this. Email me. I put my email up there, right? Did it come up? I don't remember. Okay, yeah. My email's Jack Barry KW. Somebody wrote this, Sean. So I usually wear my name tag crooked wherever I go when I'm working, right? Instead of it being this way, it's always this way because I sit in a coffee shop and all of a sudden I turn around and I see this. Well, people will respond to the negative way more than they will a positive, especially strangers. I have people come up to me and want to fix my name tag. I don't even like to be touched. They're like, oh, wait, your name tag's crooked. They will fix it. And then they're like, what's KW? I'm like, oh, that's real estate. I'm in real estate. Oh, you're in real estate. Oh my God, how's the market? That's engagement. That's how it starts, at the very basic organic level. That's how it starts. You could make money calling people all day. Where I started working, you had to call 3 hours a day on the phone. I hated it. Hated it. My mentor said, I didn't ask you your opinion. So I got a new mentor because he was too mean. But that's what it is. Today, it's 3 hours of whatever lead generation looks like to you. Might be sitting in a coffee shop with an open house sign. That's another great one. I wasn't going to an open house. I just bring the open house sign and sit it at the coffee shop next to my table. People are like, is the coffee shop for sale? Engage me. Again, I won. They're like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, oh, no, I just did an open house, $1 million open house on Delancey Street. Oh, really? How's the market? Oh, we live on Spruce. What are houses like there? Oh, well, right here. Here, look at it. Oh, my God. When I teach the class at Temple, I tell people when they sign in, they have to put their zip code down, because if they don't do the things that I say in this class, I'm coming to your zip code and taking all your business. So please email me. Let's go to, we'll have a quick coffee somewhere around Center City, over by the Art Museum. Since COVID, well, that's what I used to do BC, I say before COVID. Now I go for walks. I walk, sometimes 3 hours a day. I'll take all of my incoming calls. I have a lot of, other clients from other businesses, and I walk. I love it. Yeah. Anything else? We're right at 11 o'clock.
I think we're good, Jack. This is a great hour of power. Good questions from everybody. Alex, thank you for being the victim here today. On the month-to-month lease that's going to end in January.
All these realtors are going to try to get him. He's a realtor, okay? So no.
You got to get the script right.
Trying to represent him. This is great.
But that was really good. I thought it was a really good example, and great questions from our folks. That's what I think really helped us out from this. And I encourage all of you guys to join us for our upcoming sessions that we have. Keep an eye on your inbox. With that, Alex, thank you. Jack, thank you. Thank you to all of our participants. Have a great weekend, and have fun. Take care, guys.
Thanks, folks. Have a great day.
Thank you.